playing some quick best of one. This hand literally can't cast its one removal spell. Has a mulligan, and yeah, this hand's a lot better. Okay, looks like we're up against mono red. We need to draw a fourth land. Yep. Trigger hits for 4 this turn. Total. Well, if we don't draw another land, we just keep drawing these. Or if we draw one of our so minimum we're taking 4. Yep. Alright, take a look at this hand. Oh, the combo pieces, got them. Okay, sure. I guess I'll get rid of the additional tap land. That appears to be hooked on Phonics. Wouldn't mind drawing a Leyline Binding this turn. Never mind. They are not hooked on Phonics. Okay, so Phoenix with a Den of the Bugbear. Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm. Cool. So they're just dead. Most likely, anyway. Guess if they have Torch the Tower, technically they could get back into it. Certainly a card they could have.
Ready for another exciting expedition?
Nope, looks like I just have a creature removal spell. Yeah, this hand does contain a virtual mulligan with Spark Double, but if the ability to go turn 2 this, turn 3 that, and if we ever draw another land, we're all set up for the combo. Seems pretty reasonable enough. I think we're up against Phoenix again. The worst case scenario draw. Ew, okay. Seriously. Alright. We got a little bit lucky there to bluff our opponent. Alright, taking a look at this hand. I mean, we've got everything we need. Question of, will this hand be fast enough? Some type of life gain deck. Okay. Angels, probably? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you believe we're about at the point where we technically can no longer win the game? Alright. This hand is just a bit too risky. Up against a Giganta deck, so keep it. Ooh, Convoke. Convoke confirmed. Grab us some white mana. Back to 20. Red mana. Okay, into Gleeful Demolition, into some type of Convoke nonsense. Good game, well played.
Ready for another exciting expedition. What?
This hand doesn't do much. Try it, at least buys time. It's most important to set up both of these. Jada. Mm-hmm. pass. Sure, even better that they're doing this main phase instead of in response to Quint. Red. That was the worst case scenario. Alright, once again, successfully bluffed our arena opponent. So somebody was asking what version of Quint would I probably play in best of 1 right now. Probably would be very similar to this, maybe tweaking the mana base a little bit. The reason why is the 4 Virtue of Persistence in the main deck, and then the 4 Leyline Binding buy you enough time. Obviously Quint and Trumpeting Carnosaur to win the game. And then 27 lands, a Herd Migration, Quint, Beanstalk Giant, and Greater Tanuki to ramp you or to find your lands. And, you know, this feels like it has enough to keep you alive in a lot of scenarios. Now, if your aggressive opponents are on the play, you're going to struggle. It's just kind of what happens sometimes. You know, red decks, prowess decks can be tricky. The worst ones are definitely the tempo decks, whether that be spirits or any type of, you know, enchant or any of those decks that have like Stubborn Denial, you know, whether it be in Soul Artifact, any of that kind of stuff with, you know, Stubborn Denial or stuff backup can be tricky. But I do think, you know, in the current meta right now, this deck kind of has the tools to go long game or out in a 1-game scenario against Blue White Control. You kind of just try to chain big spells to get your opponent to either tap out or make a mistake. You know, eventually, you know, your Virtues of Persistences, your Herd Migrations, your Beanstalk Giants, while they're all not like great threats on their own, they all eventually require an answer. And, you know, eventually your opponent's going to run out of answers, and hopefully they run out of answers before they've been able to turn the corner, and then eventually you'll build a land of Quint and just kill them with whatever arbitrary amount of damage is needed left. Phoenix is almost kind of a joke game 1. They can get you with like Ledger Shredder and Phoenixes backed up by a timely Spell Pierce, but most of the time, you know, they're trying to do their thing and they're trying to beat up on the aggressive decks, and most Phoenix players don't have the discipline to play a long game or recognizing when they need to get aggressive really quickly. So it's always a matchup I felt fairly comfortable. Mono green, it's kind of a race. Who gets to do their broken stuff first? with us having a little bit of Leyline Binding and Virtue of Persistence kind of trip them up. Obviously, they don't have card anymore to shut down the combo. And then the aggressive decks, like I said, that can kind of be a coin flip. You have some draws that match up quite well, you know, as we saw against Angels. If Angels starts doing their thing, chaining off a bunch of cards, you can kind of struggle. But if you're able to answer their first Angel or two, oftentimes you have enough reach in the deck to kill them. So that's kind of my answer of where I would leave this off. The one thing I would say is you need to find another island. Maybe in the best of one version, you can switch out of planes for an island and be able to cast Clever Impersonators, you know, to duplicate your Leyline Bindings, your Beanstalk Giants, Greater Tanukis, Virtue of Persistence. It's not something that's going to come up often, but being able to get that second island to be able to cast your Clever Impersonators, or switching this out to Winds of, whatever the name of the 3-color Winds version is that we use to combo off sometimes. But yeah, overall, this is the kind of deck I like. You know, a little bit more emphasis on black to be able to cast your Virtue of Persistences. As far as the planes, that's for some sideboard cards in the best of 3 variant, which I've already kind of covered ad nauseum in the last video I did with this. But this is definitely the version I would play in best of 1 right now. And as you saw, it has a fairly reasonable thing against most of the meta. And I did beat up on Mono Green earlier today off camera as well. So anyways, if you like Explore and Pioneer content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you for our next video.